Welcome to episode 152. We reach 152 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. Welcome back. How are you going? I feel like it's a long time I ain't talked to all. I had a very, 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 very long week and long weekend. I ain't look forward to that episode so in a long time. I think as much as people is always come and tell me, listen, how much the podcast has helped them through the week. This again, the idea you're finding this on YouTube or anywhere where you listen to thing, right? In case you're listening to the first time, like and share and subscribe on whatever you is with a friend, whatever they used to say on YouTube, all they do that for me, right? But usually people tell me how it's get them through the little exercise or the things they have to do during the course of the day or when they have a long drive or the long commute. And people are all thank me, grateful for all the kind comments about the podcast and things. But let me tell you something. This episode, this week is for me because after the week and the weekend I had, this is my little opportunity to come and de-stress. So just like how I just help all it de-stress, I'll go help me de-stress this week. And I want to start with first things first. I want to congratulate everybody and anybody who was involved in making the World Steel Band Day.
All the steel bands for their excellent talent and fame they brought Trinidadian. Take this little tip from the terror, yes sir. Steel band come to stay forever, yes. I can't hear me as in England. Everybody want to learn the big band. Now they want to organize a police steel band in Britain. Yeah,
do re mi fa sol la ti do.
And playing music anywhere you go.
What a talent, excellent talent, you hear what I say. Steel band music is the greatest talent today. Trinidad, the founder of the steel band. Now the talent is widely extended to other islands. Even quite in Europe and Australia. Yes, people love to hear the steel orchestra. Yes, in party dances and weddings. Bet your life is a steel band playing. So don't doubt what I say. Band really come to stay. Yeah,
do re mi fa sol la ti do. I'm playing music anywhere you go.
What a talent, excellent talent, you hear what I say. Steel band music is the greatest talent today.
Reading from Michael Mondesi. This is from the Express, of course. Michael Mondesi always on top of the culture, as always. They say today, being the August 10th, from this year going forward, today, the rest of the planet will join Trinidad and Tobago in celebrating World Steel Band Day. The stage is set across the nation's capital for a full day of history, art, and music, all dedicated towards the national instrument. On July 22nd, Minister of Tourism, Culture, and the Arts, Randall Mitchell, introduced the resolution and secured the declaration of August 11th as World Steel Band Day at the 77th UN General Assembly in New York, USA. So the official date is the 11th of August. And I like how it kick off. Because I saw Woodford Square turn into pandemonium. And I also saw Times Square turn into some pandemonium. So pan sides all around the world, it seemed, us came together and make sure that we commemorate this in the right way. This couldn't be no little bit of work, not just to get the day officially declared as World Steel Band Day, but also to get enough people who in pan, whether it be pan sides, panists, or whoever, lighten up the social media with performances and so on to commemorate the day. I like that, you know. That could only grow from strength to strength. And there's something I always talking about that we need more of, right? This is what we need more of. I want you to observe now, right? How within years to come, this day is going to continue to get bigger and bigger and turn into a celebration. Let me give you an example, right? I always hear on Valentine's Day and Christmas and these kind of the spending times now. So talk about the fact that somebody sit down home make up something. Sorry, the religious people, they make up Christmas too. They make up a festival. They make up a time a year where you're all supposed to be jolly and happy and, you know what I mean, leave cookies for fat people who come by. They make up times a year and it causes us to all feel celebratory, to feel reverent. What is it called? To feel reverence. So these things are, even though it's man-made constructs basically, with enough time and tradition, it started to become something now that everybody's celebrating. So just like how Mother's Day starts off as that thing where you tell your mom, Happy Mother's Day, love you, mommy. And then you start to make card for Mother's Day and all of a sudden is iced up earrings and diamond rings. You know what I mean? You gotta go all out for Mother's Day now. So the reality is that making up a day as every day of the year means something now. So for instance, listen, Stacey's always tell me stop saying these things, right? But is it World Down Syndrome Day where we wear different kind of socks? That was a made up thing. Somebody wanted to commemorate or bring awareness to Down syndrome, and they use socks, something to do with chromosomes, something a close by far, but something to do with some chromosome missing about, what is it, 35th, 36th? You would think a man will inform himself before he come here and talk, but that has become such a popular thing now that you see on social media, everybody celebrating it and wearing their socks in commemoration. So what do we do for Steel Pan Day? Is it that we do more and more, we add things? Is it a Steel Pan Day that I could kind of get a gift for playing pan songs? Could I expect some kind of gift coming my way, you know what I mean? Why not? If you could give gift for all these other festivals or days, why not? I'm going back to Michael Mondays. He said, now that the days arrive, Trinbago will get the party started at noon today at Woodford Square, Port of Spain, with back-to-back performances from 11 single-pan bands, including National Panorama Single-Pan Champs Chord Masters, the original Woodbrook Modernaires, Nostrum Symphony, Unistars Jarroot Steel Band, Pan Angels, Laramie Super Vibes, Worldwide Musicians, Royal Stars Pan Symphony and Pan Elites. The celebratory ramage is set to continue late into the evening when 8 conventional large bands push their instruments into the square. Reigning National Panorama Champions BP Renegades, the National Steel Symphony Orchestra, Massey Trinidad All-Stars, Despers, Hadco Phase 2 Pan Groove, Nutrient Silver Stars, First Citizens Supernovas, and Heritage Petroleum Skiffle. All set up here. And they did. And it was a great day. According to the quotation here from Beverly Ramsey Moore, Pan Trinbago president, which I agree with, she said this is really a victory for Ellie Manette, Bertie Marshall, Neville Jules, Anthony Williams, Winston Spree Simon, and many others upon whose backs we stand. These are the people who first exposed pan to the world. Bands like Trinidad All-Stars, Bands like Trinidad All-Steel Percussion Steel Orchestra, this is a victory for them. I tend to agree. I feel like it's something that we should cherish. We must make sure as they make up and forget everything else that happened, right? Because people like to go back to the fact that that we don't have the patents and we this and we that and the teaching pan, they say Japan will take pan and thing. Pan is globally recognized as coming from Trinidad and Tobago and we are the owners of the thing. So we must always continue to ensure that we cherish it, hone it. If this is our day, we must turn this into a tourist attraction. We must do things here or in other places that cause anybody who interested in pan, or to bring more people interested in pan in the first place, but for anybody who interested in pan to want to come here to celebrate World Steel Pan Day. We don't have to wait for Carnival. This is another opportunity for another season we could have. And maybe rethink how we making the steel pan part of the Carnival Festival or make it its own festival. So I have some pan tune lineup and I had a few different ideas for what to do today, right? Because as much as I'm celebrating this, election is tonight too, right? But here's my problem with this election thing. That the last time I had an election episode is 1 o'clock in the morning, they have me up now trying to figure out who win. I'm not a young man, you know. You see me staying up them kind of hours, that don't work very well for me at all. But it's an election day, and I do an injustice to somebody on this podcast before, right? And when you're wrong people, you must apologize, like Rudder Bards. When you're wrong people, you must make your apology and make your public apology and let it be known that you're sorry for doing whatever you did, because it's only fair. You can't just leave things out in the open like that, right? And a long time ago in Bethlehem, when they had an election, I made a little song one day, here what I will do, right? I commit into this. Let me say this because I have an idea to do this and I ain't doing it, so I'll say it so hopefully it get me moving, right? I go in and take all these songs that I make on this podcast, the ones that I sing for myself. It all these people's song, right? But the ones where I remake lyrics and I think, and I'm going to make that on an album, a collectible. People always ask me about merch and what I do in the podcast. And at one time, a fan, thank God, a listener had sent me, what was it? A glass, a little drinking glass. Salute to my guy Daniel. It's on my little drinking glass, you know what I mean? To take my little sips. And people was asking me, oh, with my glass. And all right, so the first piece of merch I'm going to bring out, I'm going to get a physical album done. I ain't know I'm going to do it on if it's a CD. You might never be able to listen, but I'm going to put a recorder. I'm going to make my own album of all these songs I sing, where I take people's song and sing all kind of lal about people. But I have one particular calypsonian who I make a song about last election. And I wanted to use this episode to clean that up, because as much as they make joke out of the man, you must also honor one of the greatest to ever do it in our history, which I will get to. But in the midst of all that, I really have a few pan song lined up too, you know what I mean?
Steel band all the way. Those are the bands that carry this way. But not a single jazz band again could brag and boast how they full of fame. For anywhere you pass, you can hear a steel band of class. Steel band musicians playing modern orchestrations. I hear the heroes are Desperado, All-Star and Tokyo, Soul Symphony, Renegade and Sun Valley, Tripoli and the band from Tanapuna. I don't know, I was only told those are some bands going to tour the world, the heroes. Yes, long time John Williams, one of the most famous musicians. When he heard a steel band play, well, you would be shocked to hear what he say. But it is so again. Now is the steel bands that got the name. Jazz musicians struggling for feed. They eating the bread that the devil eat. I hear the heroes are Desperado, All-Star and Tokyo, Soul Symphony, Renegade and Sun Valley, Tripoli and the band from Tanapuna. I don't know, I was only told those are some bands going to tour the world, the heroes. Well, this ain't no joke. Pan put the musicians out of work. Some of them with tears in their eyes. They're looking for walking custom exercise. But some of them join the police force to lock up some of the pan men, of course. But this is what the public declare. It's only the steel bands they want to hear. The heroes Desperado, All-Star and Tokyo, Soul Symphony, Renegade and Sun Valley, Tripoli and the band from Tanapuna. I don't know, I was only told those are some bands going to tour the world, the heroes. Steel band is covered in Trinidad. To mention I'm perfectly proud and glad. Making an oil drum an instrument. Well, when you think of it, that is excellent. Men like Neville Jules and Nelly Manette. Those are steel band leaders we can't forget. For day by day they put in their heart and soul to make steel band the next one and rough the world. The heroes Desperado, All-Star and Tokyo, Soul Symphony, Renegade and Sun Valley, Tripoli and the band from Tanapuna. I don't know, I was only told those are some bands going to tour the world, the heroes.
Great voice of the one terror. I mean, a voice that really hard to mistake, you know, a hard man to mistake your voice. You must know when you're hearing terror. And I tell you, there's a few pan songs I line up before I get into this, because one of the things that I really feel good about in pan music, right, is that I don't know how it is for everybody, but when I was young, as a little fella growing up, pan and pan music, I'd never really liked pan that much. It was too loud for me. It was too noisy. And I will also say the same about any big band music, right? So, like my father was playing in Song Rev. I was too small. I couldn't remember that. But I remember him playing in a band called Avengers and a band called Jackie Johnson XL. And the next band, he played with Atlantic a couple times. Atlantic had a band room in St. James. So I used to go, whenever he comes to play with Atlantic, I would go. Them days Tony Prescott singing with Atlantic, right? And as a little child, I remember going on in St. James there, by where's Culture Inn now? Salute to my boy Kevin Lucas, where Culture Inn is now. Downstairs there, that's Kevin Lucas, Colin Lucas's hotel, right? What is called their hotel? A motel? What is called a hotel? An inn. It's an inn. So where that inn is now is where Song Rev band room used to be, down in a little hole in the building there, right? And I remember going in that room and the music was so loud. It was a small room and it was so I can't hear any one instrument. It was just noise to me. Same thing in Atlantic band room. Same thing, like I always remember by the time he was playing Jackie Johnson, so this is Jackie Johnson XL, that was a Tobago band, right? By the time he was playing Jackie Johnson, I was big enough to go a little fat, you know what I mean? Maybe a teenager still, so going with them. And I remember in particular one time going to King George and listening to him play, and when he come, he say, how you find a song? And I was like, boy, I can't hear nothing you play. It just everything sung in like one big sound. I will say that after years of, you know what I mean, playing music and being around bands and being in them noisy situations, from not being able to hear anything at all or just hearing one big, heavy, noisy sound, now I could hear everything. I hear everything happening in a band, right? Every sound. And I like that. I like the fact that I could do that. So now I get, in my older years, get a better appreciation for pan than I would have before. My appreciation for pan really come from me and my boy Pablo going in the North Stand jam people. We come to jam pan. You know what I mean? And we just used to enjoy that. But the pan to me had seemed like something that was old people thing. It's only old people seeing following pan and playing pan and them kind of things. It wasn't, to me, a young person thing. And I don't know if I was the only person with that perception or if people used to see it that way. But I will say now that certainly these youths now pick up and embrace pan in a different way. And you're seeing more and more, right? Like when you go and you look at that Michael Mondesi article, or the Express wrote, the Guardian wrote a great article as well. Hundreds attended inaugural World Pan Hundreds attended inaugural World Steel Pan Day celebrations in Port of Spain. The international community banded together yesterday evening to celebrate the first ever World Steel Pan Day, which was recently added to the United Nations' calendar. Leading the charge for the festivals as the iconic instruments was the iconic instrument's home country. Hundreds descended on Woodford Square, Port of Spain for the Pantrinbago celebration. Every creed and race, young and old, rich and poor, found an equal place at the square last evening, dancing and swaying to the rhythmic sounds that are now synonymous with the island. This is indeed the unfolding of greatness, Pantrinbago President Beverly Ramsey Moore told Guardian Media. When you look at what's happening in the People's Parliament of Woodford Square, where you have more than 10,000 persons present here today, it is telling a story that pan is Trinidad and Tobago. Pan can unify the world. Pan is passion. I am extremely pleased and extremely happy to see pan display in this magnificent way in the land of its birth. The TNT consulate in New York also took to Times Square with celebrations last night. During the celebrations, TNT messages came in from countries like Japan. According to Ramsey Moore, the day was also observed in other Caribbean islands, Canada, and Europe. On the 24th of July, the United Nations declared the 11th of August as World Steel Pan Day after a draft resolution was brought by Minister of Tourism, Culture and Arts Randall Mitchell. Randall Mitchell working. I thought they tell me Randall Mitchell don't work. I thought they say you don't do nothing. So you're seeing that. And when you look at the photos from this article or the Michael Mondesi article or on social media or anywhere that was talking about World Steel Pan Day, what you're seeing is a good bit of youths in the mix there. You're seeing some of the older heads too, which is good. Any combination where it's how youths and it's how the older heads around them talking about passing on things from generation to generation, which is good. But when you watch what, Joshua Grello, I hope I have the right one now. Pan Man, right? Pan Man. and Chuckery and these youths doing, them taking a certain ownership of pan and making it cool, making it trendy for the youths to embrace and be a part of. I like that. I find that inspiring. So that's why I say, even though I had a plan, it would be so nice if them youths from as early a age as possible, who playing in junior panorama and who choose a career or a hobby or to choose pan as the instrument, could start going around and getting a feel for songs like these.
Say to me they want a musical change in pan. Well, I didn't tell them yes, but I didn't tell them no. I say, well, gentlemen, I'm gonna do the best I can. As long as you challenge me, well, I'm going to have a go. They all indicated that they were getting bored, and they will appreciate something new. So I thought it best to change to the minor chord, to see really who is who.
Big band,
Who be on the tenor?
big band,
Bringing out the minor.
big band,
What come the professor?
big band,
To act to the fire.
big band,
Calling on Bradley.
big band,
To challenge Beverly.
big band,
Which means Desperado.
big band.
Go answer Tokyo. You go hear pan in A minor. With them steel band from all over. You're gonna hear them at the back. They'll be going through a test. You're gonna hear them at the pass. Burning the grass.
Big band, big band, big band, big band.
I walk around the room and I started to create. I know I have to prove to them I have the ability. I dare and then decide the minor should dominate. If not entirely, for most of the melody. You notice the chorus carries a simple hook from 7 to A minor. It's really designed to give you a strange new look on the road to panorama.
Big band,
They tell me carefully,
big band,
preparing already,
big band,
but something just tell me,
big band,
and very not easy.
big band,
No one ever mentioned
big band,
the strength of Blue Diamond.
big band,
Forgetting that Sando
big band.
would upset the whole show. You go hear pan in A minor with them steel band from all over. You're gonna hear them at the back, they'll be going through a test. You're gonna hear them at the pass, burning the grass.
Big band, big band, big band, big band.
I want the boys to know the Grandmaster wish you well. Following the instruction, you should be sung in sweet. I do sincerely hope every single band excel. I know you're going to have the crowd falling over their feet. Remember, you're fighting for tonal quality. the spirit of carnival and good phrase. Arrangement and interpretation certainly has to win all the judges' praise.
Beat band,
They say Casablanca,
beat band,
Taliban invader,
beat band,
and some band from Arima.
beat band,
They master the minor,
beat band,
but I know you can't trust.
beat band,
Solo and Exodus,
beat band,
all will be hoping to
beat band.
destroy it tomorrow. You gon' hear pan in A minor, with them steel band from all over. You're gonna hear them at the battle, they'll be going through a test. You're gonna hear them at the pass, burning the grass.
Beat band, beat band, beat band, beat band.
I can't stop that. Sweetness, you know, let me tell you something. They tell me last week I play all kind of bad man tune and I leave out Kitchener. Kitchener was really one of the bads to it because Kitchener has some real, when it comes to licking and beating people. Well, you hear what happened to me last week too now. You see, always have to pay attention to what you say. It's a good thing I just try and talk and keep my language in a certain way, you know. Zachary come and ask me out of the blue. He said, Daddy, when you say the man licked the woman, what he mean? I said, what? What your mother teaching you? I said, what your mother teaching you? I said, what you mean when the man licked the woman? He said, no, he played this song with how short he licked she. I said, oh God. I said, boy, better you ask your mother. You know what I mean? Don't bring that to me because I don't want to know. I don't know nothing. Now, one of the other things I want to say about Pan, right, as I play a few, and I mean, I want to encourage you. I recorded this on Monday night, right? To put out Tuesday morning, which I always do, right? It's always on a Tuesday. But I want to encourage you to go and take in Kaiso Kern, right? The name of the podcast is TGIM. Thank God It's Monday by Kaiso Kern. I think the theme of it is a Calypso 10-2. He does much more music. He's a DJ, it looked like, and he's play more music. The whole podcast is music, right? And I already see he was posting a few songs this week, which remind me of songs to play to. And one of them I definitely want to play before I move away from this, right? Which is one of the sweetest Pan songs ever written. And it's very, very hard to isolate songs from Kitchener that was great Pan songs. So before all this started telling me thing, I want to mention one time the era of Toko Band. You know, you see that Toko Band and Bee's Melody and the river coming down, and these things is classics, right? It have nothing you could do nothing that I could do could take anything away from them things, and that is really just a small look at what he would have done in his career. I remember talking about the amount of panoramas that Kitchener was involved in with songs that win Panorama by far, leading anybody else in terms of composing songs to the Pan. And let me tell you something: if you go in and you look at the people who come first, second, and third, and then you add big band, small band, Pan around the neck, and them kind of things, Kitchener absolutely dominate Pan. And so when you're talking greatest artists of all time, it's hard to leave him out of the discussion, you know, because the reality is that he not only dominated Pan, he dominated Road March for a long time too. So when you look at that kind of track record, it's going to be hard to argue that argue against him being one of the greatest of all time, right? But in the Pan is where you're seeing a level of domination that is difficult to pin down or to it's hard to find the words to describe or to show the appreciation for what he would do for Pan. I saying all that because I can't play every Kitchener song it have, right? It's just way too much, right? But Kaiso Kern had posted on his Instagram a few songs. He had Bee's Melody on it too. It looked like from an old interview with Kitchener, of course, with Alvin Daniel. Salute to Alvin Daniel. It's always a place for information, right? Plenty episodes that I research. A lot of the info would have come from Alvin Daniel. But when you look at this particular song and the way it constructed and composed and stuff, is one of the sweeter ones from Lord Kitchener for me. This is just my personal preference, right? So tell me if you know it. But even if you don't know it, listen to the sweetness in it. What I want to go into after this, right, is because some of my favorite Panorama winning songs is actually songs that have nothing to do with Pan. So if you go back to Panorama winners in the early years of Panorama, right, you'll notice that there was a trend where the people used to sing about whatever. They're singing about mass, they're singing about... the song could be about anything. And the Pan men would have take it and do the arrangement and enter Panorama with it. And then we came into an era somewhere around the middle of the 80s, heading into the 90s, where the song was not just designed for the Pan, it was about Pan. And you would notice that a lot of the Panorama winners was playing Pan songs, the idea of a Pan tune. I have to assume that in the earliest days, in the 60s for instance, the music would have been composed in a way that was already musically rich. And it was already orchestra and big band music. When you look at the way Kitchener was putting together songs, it was already orchestra type music they were making. And then somewhere in the 80s, when the electronic music take over, maybe chords get simplified and movement get simplified and harmonizing get a little bit less. And, you know what I mean? Too much of changes in progression in song, you know what I mean? Well, now we're in a whole rhythm era. So unless an artist takes the time, and a producer, I suppose, or arranger, takes the time to put in something where it gives the Pan arranger now enough to work with in a song, then you're going to create music for songs. But I'm seeing that we back to a time now where the Pan, so for instance, the last year, the men play Hookin' Me. And I mean, they expand it, right? So it's not just the song from this year, but last year the men play Hookin' Me and win. Then you had Year for Love, you had Full Extreme, for instance. So you might find that more and more, what I'm seeing now is more and more Pan sides looking at different types of songs that are already done popular on the road and is a big popular songs for Carnival. I was saying last year in 2019 was Hookin' Me. Hookin' Me by Nadia Batson was a big song already, right? So you find that's one of the things that is going to encourage more youths to want to be a part of Pan. When you go and you hear, no disrespect to anybody, right? But when you hear our time with some of the arrangements and the songs by, whether it's Bugsy Gid playing your own songs or salute to my guy Ray Hallman, he playing his own songs. And I mean, not saying that is a bad thing. I'm just saying that when the song itself not very popular in the Carnival, it's harder for the instrument and the Panorama or Pan music itself to get mainstream. When you're hearing the best of the bands is when you hear them on the road. So I always talk about playing mass and then walking back from town to St. James. And you're hearing now bands getting to play wherever they're accustomed playing, wherever it is they like, you know what I mean? Or just sweet music for people to chip. It's not about a Pan song and showing the virtuosity of the instrument. So it's nice that you could do the big orchestra and the big band sounds and stuff. It's similar to going and see Etienne play the other day. When I see Etienne and they play, they're going to play very complicated music that's really hard to play and it's going to show their musicianship. But within that, they're also going to play some songs that simple and you could chip along to and learn and dance to, or familiar ones that people know. But before I get into some of them familiar ones, I just want to play one more song designed for Pan, which for me, if I had to pick out a favorite from Kitchener, this would definitely be one.
Well, the brass band will be wailing on the big day, while the steel band harmonizing in their own way. As they play loud syncopating, and the large crowd celebrating, falling mass. This is Pan of class.
When the steel band play, on carnival day.
Hear the rhythm, love the rhythm, make you feel to jump up.
So you start to sway, then you break away.
It's a feeling so exciting, when you start you can't stop.
Ding-a-ling,
Ding-a-ling-a-ling, ding.
that's the beat of the iron. We raise our hands and we jump and kick, singing melody, band in harmony.
Bassman went crazy in this one.
If you pass by Salvatore, Tuesday morning, man, you hear back until you giddy, they ain't joking. Their rendition is excellent, with a new form of arrangement. Shake your waist, sweet pan in the place.
When the steel band play, on carnival day.
Hear the rhythm, love the rhythm, make you feel to jump up.
So you start to sway, then you break away.
It's a feeling so exciting, when you start you can't stop.
Ding-a-ling,
Ding-a-ling-a-ling, ding.
that's the beat of the iron. We raise our hands and we jump and kick, singing melody, band in harmony.
Just listen to Bassman, right? Listen to Bassman.
You can hear bass and the guitar in the background, while the cello and the tenor with the big song. Then they all join together with the rhythm of the drummer. Happy harmony for soul.
When the steel band play, on carnival day.
Hear the rhythm, lovely rhythm, make you feel to jump up.
So you start to sway, then you break away.
It's a feeling so exciting, when you start you can't stop.
Ding-a-ling,
Ding-a-ling-a-ling, ding.
that's the beat of the iron.
Bass!
We raise our hands and we jump and kick, singing melody, band in harmony.
So Kitchener had a way, I mean, when you watch the Monty win, go and look at them. Some is about pan, some is about woman, some is about mass, is a range of topics. And if your song is a hit in the air and you give it enough musicality with the pan side, could do something with it, you're onto something. But again, some of these youths now who are ranging for the pan sides, the Xanders and Smooth and the one Stewart and these fellas, they take anything and taking the most popular songs in the carnival and making it into pan songs, so that again it's going to attract more and more youths. And once enough youths involved, you have something that could sustain itself, right? So I'm gonna give, before I get into the topics for this week, I'm gonna give 3 of my favorite that would have been had nothing to do with pan. They made for the road, they made for kicks, they made for the tent, but they were taken and made into pan songs. And this is what we need more of to continue to generate interest in the instrument or in the steel band movement from the youths. I'm going from today day to back in the day, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Tell me what they're fighting for. What they're killing for. We don't need no more now. So tell them wicked people, fire go burn them. Fire go burn them. Oh Lord, I said this is the year for love. Fire go burn them. Fire go burn them. Oh, say little boy, you ain't mad at all. No, another one just gone. But you beat your chest and smile. Say you's a madman. Another young boy fall. Your soul can't rest at night. Oh, you's a bad man. Bad man is a man who will defend woman and protect the young ones by any means, Lord. You ain't no bad man, boy, nah. You ain't no bad man. A real bad man just make his own decisions. He don't need anyone, he only needs God. You ain't no bad man, boy, nah. You ain't no bad man. So, sit down, rock back. Tell them I don't need no strap to defend my people from wicked and evil. Whoa. So, sit down, woman influencing young ones to kill a boy now. He ain't no bad man, boy now. He ain't no bad man. A real bad man works for whatever he wants, and he don't need no gun, he full of joy now. That is a bad man soldier. He ain't no bad man. So sit down, rock back. Tell them I don't need no strap to defend my people from wicked and evil. Whoa. So sit down, rock back. Big man look for a walk. You're too damn evil. If they distress my people, then fire go burn them. Fire go burn them. Oh Lord, I said this is the year for love.
Fire go burn them. Fire go burn them. Whoa, oh Lord, like a boy, you don't care what. So I want to say, right, that if you listen to this way voices put together is music. Voice have a lot more musicality than plenty artists out there when you listen to your music good. So again, a pan arranger who looking for something specific to play orchestral music. Just remember, like, pan music is just big band music, you know. It's the same as going to Carnegie Hall and listening to one of them big orchestras. There's several different types of pan that you have to write music for. So the more musicality in it, the better you might come out. And voices are kind of young Kitchener, you know, when you're watching. It's one of the, he easily having one of the biggest catalogs in calypso or soca music. He easily get in there, and he add into that year after year. Salute to voice, right? I could play a next one for you that had nothing to do with pan, that win panorama, that must make youths interested in anything.
Give praise, children. Give praise. Give praise, children. Yeah. Give praise. Give praise, children. Yeah. Give praise. Give praise, children. Our Father who has given us His arms that we can all feel like we're a part of this earthly heaven. Forgive us this
the holiday vibration rains. And everybody say, everybody come and congregate. Nothing to do with pan, but everything to do with pan. Here, next one. I say while we're waiting for election results, right? We best we just play some music.
While jumping up in a van, I end up in confusion. Oh, the van was at Green Corner. Hey, I jumped in with Rebecca. Hey.
I ain't sure if it's the thing really happened, because my head was so bad.
But Rebecca was away all the shirt button hold on.
And she started to whine like she mad.
Falling, falling down, on the ground, jumping up, stop. But she was dancing around in a circle. Hold on, Rebecca drink meeting, Rebecca smoke meeting, Rebecca sniff meeting, Rebecca high, man. She was dancing around in a circle. Hold on, she was high, high, high. I know Rebecca from small. She have no behavior at all. No, she dancing and belting kick like the girl possessed with music. Brass for soca carnival Tuesday, soca jamming.
I whining but decently,
trying my best to avoid people watching. Oh boy, but Rebecca hold on to me. With his falling down, on the ground, jumping up, stop. But she was dancing around in a circle. Hold on, Rebecca drink meeting, Rebecca smoke meeting, Rebecca sniff meeting, Rebecca high, man. She was dancing around in a circle. Hold on, she was high, high, high.
this up there on Melissa favorites now. I can't really stop this, every verse bad.
This whole day I telling she, woman leave the people whiskey. Don't follow, come in and smoke. Well, Ash Wednesday you have to work. Still everything that happened was just normal. Well, everybody happy. But the thing that she sniffed with Paul, it and Friday, oh boy, we can start to read our country. Well, it's falling down, on the ground, jumping up, stop. But she was dancing around in a circle. Oh Lord, Rebecca drink meeting, Rebecca smoke meeting, Rebecca sniff meeting, Rebecca high, man. She was dancing around in a circle. Oh Lord, she was high, high, high. What a sight to see. Rebecca flinging she body. Oh, see she in front the band. She enjoying the jam session. my green corner. Music lasting down the place. Our next woman bust up cheap clothes like Rebecca. Oh boy, then they start to show off their waist. Falling, hey, hey, falling down, hey, hey, on the ground, hey, hey, jumping up, hey, hey, stop. But she was dancing around in a circle. Oh Lord, I tell you, Rebecca drink the tea, Rebecca smoke the tea, Rebecca sniff the tea, Rebecca ham, and she was dancing around in a circle. Oh Lord, she was high, high, high.
Great Super Blue, one of the greatest songs ever written. When you see one that doesn't write song, but in the spirit of songwriting, I want to play for you what I, in my humble opinion, very, very humble opinion to me, had to be the greatest panorama ever. Not greatest panorama in terms of, because I suppose All Stars and them might be real big. Who play Carita Banker? We play Carita Banker and lost. Unknown band win from Super Blue. So there are some big panoramas, right? And I know Pan Man to say I could call what was the biggest panoramas in terms of performance and so on. But in terms of, and again, another song that was not written about Pan, or I suppose it's Kitchener. So you never know if it was written for Pan, probably. But the way he used to write songs, it could have worked anyway. But in terms of lyricism and storytelling and applicability of music, you remember you talking about that 1980 with Scrunton Woman on the bass? Or the story behind that, right? Go back to a few episodes ago, you'll hear that story. But this is one of the greatest stories ever in Panorama too. And let me just make sure I have this right. This would have been played by All Stars in 1973. Tell me if you know it.
Well, they moan and they fuss and they say we want, we fet, and they abuse and they cuss and they say this is a threat. Yes, they damn and they blast and they say we hope it ain't true. They won't dare to cancel, we jump up 1972. Mama, when they hear, they go get the carnival. All masqueraders on heat. Well, they didn't care if it was official, but they start turning these on the street. And they start to jump around, and they start to tumble down, and they fall down on the ground. If you see how they came. But what was so comical in the midst of Bacchanal? Rain come and wash out mass in Bay. Even say it's the guns on Montcoco, so they won't let we play, and they blaming polio. Who they think they could fool? All we know they better do fast. Polio or no polio, man we want we must. Mama, when they hear, they go get the carnival. Oh, all masqueraders on here. Well, they didn't care if it was official, but they start turning peace on the street. And they start to jump around, and they start to tumble down, and they fall down on the ground. If you see how they came. Well, what was so comical in the midst of Bacchanal? Rain come and wash out mass in May. the news hit the town, the band leaders rail up then. Well, they can't slow we down, cause a lot of money spent. And they know very well, everybody have their minds spent. So they have to try and save us this embarrassment.
Mama, when they hear, they go get the carnival.
Aye, aye, all masqueraders on heat.
Well, they didn't care if it was official,
But they start running beats on the street.
and they start to jump around, and they start to tumble down, and they fall down on the ground. If you see how they came,
But what was so comical in the midst of Bacchanal?
rain come and wash out massively.
Say that it is important and to suggest they should play carnival after the length. Well, the crowd start to ball, they know what they're talking about. Why these so-and-so hypocrites don't shut up their mouth?
Mama, when they hear, they go get the carnival.
Oh, masqueraders on here.
Well, they didn't care if it was official,
But they start running beats on the street.
and they start to jump around, and they start to tumble down, and they fall down on the ground. If you see how they came,
But what was so comical in the midst of Bacchanal?
rain come
And wash out massive man. So the story behind that, right? And listen to how interesting this is, right? In 1972, they had an outbreak of polio in the country, right? Go and find out what polio is. If you're too young to know what is polio, what you doing here? But yeah, polio, they had a polio outbreak in 72 and it was during carnival time, right? During February. So imagine the song lyrics speak for themselves, right? People ain't taking that. People want the mass, people too much money spending, man, say basker, band leader, all them things, men out. Men don't plan out the carnival since August this year. Imagine that. You ever thought we'd come and live through something just like that in 2020, 2021? The exact same scenario, you know? And just like how people call for virtual carnival or to do carnival at a later time of the year, or you see August, I once said a fete, now too hot, all you maybe try May. But they postpone it from carnival from February to May. So it's, and after that time, one of the biggest quarrels according to Kitchener Day is that how you go come and put carnival after Lent, you know what I mean? The carnival is supposed to be before Lent, and when Lent done, you're done with that, right? But they did it in May, and of course, rainfall and wash out mass in May. And he come and he sing that the year after and run away with everything. Run away with everything. It's a Calypso episode, eh? Because the last song I'm going to play that was not about pan at all is our next one that run away with everything that year. But I want to show you the creativity of Calypso and how Calypso needs to find a little pick on and their joke, right? So Rainorama was in 1973 singing about 72 Carnival. All you want to hear what the great mighty power had to say about the polio outbreak in Trinidad in 72 itself.
This time you can't doubt me. Ask anybody. We need more protection. As Trinidadians, I don't tell the health authority. Check them immediately. Who you think I mean? The wall and the road match Calypso King. They had me wondering. They had doctors guessing where this thing come from. Nobody ain't nobody's
Kitchen and Sparrow, who spread the polio? Kitchen and Sparrow, who spread the polio?
I just had to give a little piece of that, right? Paul says Kitchen and Sparrow cause the polio. Well, listen, imagine that in 72 they're singing about a polio outbreak. And shift the mass. Rain fall in May and wash out the mass. Kitchener come and sing in 73. And one of the men who I played earlier in this episode was one of the biggest influences on Panorama, on anything to do with our genre, David Rudder. Well, have polio if you didn't know. I mean, everybody's supposed to know that, right? But when you watch how David Rudder work, he was affected by polio and that kind of thing back in the day. So it's like, you know how these things connect and thing over the years, always interesting to me, you know. So here what I'm gonna do, right? I have a list of topics, you know, believe it or not, but I find the pan thing looks so good. It looks so upful. It make me change direction last minute and still let me just honor some songs from the panorama and them thing. But my favorites usually come from, again, songs that had nothing to do with pan. When you're talking about song that was completely dominant, this had to be one of the most dominant songs in the history of Carnival. Panorama 2017, right? So just understand where I'm coming from. You play them popular songs of the day, you find that youths go be in it. And I mean, what better fitting way to get into the election than we do business? Ultimate Rejects, the great Maximus Dan, one of the greatest of all times, one of the greatest of all times. You find a way into the episode, and I had a plan again. The man who have a plan for what we're gonna call this apology episode, because again, if you want to hear the original election episode, go back to episode 10, right? Go back to episode 10 and you'll know who are owing a little bit of an apology, because I have not played a lot of this man's music on the podcast over the years. not deliberately, it just never really came up. I've not played a lot of his music over the years, but what I have done is make Lex tempo and make fun of the man, right? So I want to correct that today. But as the song says, so wisely, you say recession could come, it's gonna be election or no election. Don't bother, we don't care. Oh, do you want to see? Are we gonna burn them? You know what I mean? Who are they voting for? What they vote? Is after the time you could talk about voting. Anyhow, this coming out tomorrow. All they vote, all they do, all they pay them. You read your finger, or you yellow your finger, or you. It's have a blue run on their own anyway. Or PEP, I see PEP running and thing. I see Gary had to come out and say that PEP is not following the election what you call it, election embargo or something like that, where you can't talk about elections or anything like that during the course of the day. But apparently, Philip was doing things that they're saying was campaigning or so on Facebook, which is Facebook is his platform, right? Facebook is his Eddie Hart's or his Arangwes. That's as far as he's go with his campaigns. So they was accusing him of that today. I see Gary celebrating the fact that they had a clean campaign and the parties was everybody partying, it was respectful to one another. I think it was there's no you to say it was cussing up Rowley on the golf course. I hear me now true. But the thing runs smooth and you find it was peaceful and thing, but like you try to make it hot for no reason whatsoever. But salute to Gary, salute to the trio of Kamla, Jack, and Gary. I suppose at some point tonight we go find out if they win. If I ain't staying up till 1 o'clock in the morning, the better declare this result quick. I'm not a young man to be staying up all the hour of the night. But the last election that we had, when I did the whole episode and then went and see who win, unfortunately, the swing seat at that time was Moruga. And the swing politician at that time, who would have been a king in my arrow in yellow, was bought by Red to go Moruga. And it really didn't work for him. So, but I wanted to use this episode or the balance of this episode according to when results come out to pay a tribute to one of the greatest Calypsonians of all time.
Watch out, boy! This train is stopping at any station. Tell the train man at the train station to raise up the rail and brakes for your feel. There's only DJ jamming, Calypsonian singing, and musician grumbling. People want to jam. Everybody getting down on the soca train. Here come the soca train. Getting down on the soca train. Everybody getting down on the soca train. Here come the soca train. Getting down on the soca train. Watch it! Ram cram, train jam, captain, we have some standing room only. But be careful when we're rocking that you don't grab or hold on to anybody. Because every brother walk with his daughter and they in a corner getting down together. And everybody getting down on the soca train. Here comes the soca train. Getting down on the soca train. Everybody getting down on the soca train. Here comes the soca train. Getting down on the soca train. Aye. Get set, tell them, come on. This train, cause we ain't no restriction. We jamming and more jamming. We just grooving, moving in any direction. We're drinking whiskey, smoking wacky wacky, and we making merry as we go along. Everybody getting down on the soca train. Here comes the soca train. Getting down on the soca train. Everybody getting down on the soca train. Here comes the soca train. Getting down on the soca train. Jamming. I beg, no sweat or
march in England, Holland or Poland, into the Soviet Union, we get some action. Everybody getting down on the soca train. Here comes the soca train. Getting down on the soca train. And everybody getting down on the soca train. Here comes the soca train. Getting down on the soca train. Everybody getting down on the soca train. Here comes the soca train. Getting down on the soca train. Everybody down on the soca train.
I wonder if only know the Maximus version, but salute to Maximus because Maximus version bad in real life, you know. But again, I taken a minute to salute the great Gypsy, who this era might only know as a politician. Is a funny thing, because I always listen to people talking about youths now might only know Joe Budden as a podcaster, or you might see somebody who they know Jordan as a man who's do sneakers. They don't really know Jordan greatness, the youths. You know what I mean? They never really see him play basketball and them kind of thing. Or they just know Shaka Hislop as an announcer on TV match. And I sit down yesterday with Zachary watching football thing on YouTube. And my little brother Stefan here. And Stefan asking, Zachary calling all kind of goalkeeper. He know about the greatest goalkeeper in the world. Some man from Slovakia who won in 19 how long? And Stefan asked him, but you know who is Shaka Hislop? This man had no idea who is Shaka Hislop. It's so embarrassing, you know what I mean? And Stefan trying to tell him about the history and World Cup and them thing and show him it on YouTube when we went to the World Cup and all the little saves Shaka make and we draw the first game with Sweden. And when you look at it, some of these youths so young that whatever these fellas doing now, they might not know them at all in case of Zachary. Or people who watching football now might see Shaka as a Trinidadian who make it to ESPN. They mightn't remember that Shaka was I think he was West Ham keeper. Like West Ham would be the height of his career. If I'm not mistaken, he would have been in Newcastle as well. Saved Trinidad, you know what I mean? Clean sheet in the World Cup. How much goalkeepers could say they have a clean sheet in a World Cup? But so every now and again, you have to play these things and remind these youths about these things. Another song that have a big story behind it, right? When a man could go Skinner Park. And if you know Skinner Park, going to watch Calypso and them thing, you're going to remember that. If you're singing that you go get toilet paper, right? People walking with toilet paper for you. This is a brutal place now. Imagine you sit down, you write your Calypso, you say, right, I'm going for them, and you go on Calypso for you, sit down in Skinner Park, and as you start to sing, people start to push up toilet paper in the air, toilet paper, and wave. So Gypsy was a man get a barrage of toilet paper in Skinner Park. They boo him off the stage, toilet paper. Them days the toilet paper streaming and blowing in the wind and things. We rough, you know, we rough and we artists, you know. But you had to salute Gypsy as one of the greatest of all times for getting all that toilet paper and not making it to the Calypso final. Basically getting wiped out of Skinner Park. And then the very next year, come in and destroy Skinner Park with this.
Oh, my lord. Fat black when you in there, road, but how much trouble is this? I just went to sing me Calypso. What I do them in South, I don't know. Everybody know I'm a South man. I'm a favorite down in the Southland. They say they shut me up with a medal. That made some people uncomfortable. So as I enter the savannah, they treat me like the knees or relator. You're talking about toilet paper. Oh God, toilet paper. Oh my Lord, toilet paper. I see black, I see brown, I see grey and green. The most toilet paper I've ever seen in my life. Toilet paper. Toilet paper. Toilet paper. And in all my life, Lord, I never knew San Fernando had toilet paper so well, oh God. Toilet paper. Hey, toilet paper. Toilet paper. Ah, yes,
Toilet paper. Great song. You know, when you look at the composition, you take your toilet paper and run. I have a few more to play now. I have a few more before I get into, because again, Gypsy have a way. He have a era songs. The same thing I was saying about Kitchener when he do Toko Band and them things, right? Have a era songs that people know from Gypsy and know what Gypsy about. And we go talk about them during the election coverage because so much of them so relevant to what is happening in politics today as we await these results, right? And Gypsy, as a political commentator, don't feel he was just no extempo man. You know, Gypsy political commentary used to be stinging. And that is why people was vexed with him when he went to the UNC the first time, you know, because people in Calypso have a feeling that if you're ponging, anytime he is a political commentator, he is a PNM. I don't know. So the fact that you could run for any other party could be the end of your career, but Gypsy unstoppable because the man work ethic up there because he have a real song, big catalog, and the quality of music he thinks the man is a great singer, great performer and everything. But before I get into some of Gypsy's serious songs and political commentary as we look at what happened in the election here, I could play him a favorite Gypsy. Listen to lyrics.
What? Like they want to drive me insane. I don't know what to do again. What's the formula to win a crown down in Port of Spain? Man, every year I come in strong. I sing in a powerful song. Not for hell they won't give me the calypso crown. So my good partner tell me, hear what you doing wrong, Gypsy. You have too much good lyrics in your melody. Everybody love your tune, cause we know that you could prune. So sing this song and I'm sure that you can't go wrong. What? Sing ram bam, bam bam, bam bam bam, bam bam bam, ram bam bam, bam 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 bam bam, I turn and tell my partner fat, not for hell I ain't singing that. The man vexed with me, he called me all kind of stupidity. Saying, boy, what is wrong with you? Like you don't want to win for you. You could say what you want, man, that is a Baptist chant. The man tell me, yes, I agree. But people sing that and win already. So I asked him, what about originality? Then he tell me, about that you must not worry. Have some confidence in me, it's original if someone sing it already. Yes, sing ram bam, re bam bam, booby bam bam, re bam bam bam, bibidi bam bam, re bam bam bam, booby bam bam, re bam bam bam, bam bam bam, re bam bam, booby bam bam, re bam bam bam, bam bam bam, re bam bam, bibidi bam bam, re bam bam bam. Like your mad partner, that can't carry me savannah. You must be aware they have some real strict judges up there that almost tear the man in half. You should be there to see him laugh. He make me feel shame when I mention the judge's name. Change the wicked grin to a smile. Them judges only there for style. Them judges could even treat the elbows for pile. Look boy, if you want to win, go ahead and sing the thing and forget if they even have them judges judging. What? Sing ram bam, re bam badam, re bam bam, re bam badam, re bam bam, ra bam badam, ra bam bam, ra bam bam badam, bibidi mi bam bibidi bam bam badam, re bam bam, re bam badam, re bam bam badam, re bam bam, re bam badam bam.
So listen, they say the voter turnout, everything was smooth at one point during the day. I was hearing that the voter, everything was running smooth and them thing. Me ain't gonna vote on them. I ain't know what's all in. I only went and voted on them thing. That seeing the voter turnout was low. I contributed to that. I did my part. Right? I do my part where low turnout is concerned. So where do I start? So much articles here. Before I get to results, I just want to say how things went. I don't think I have any official results yet. And I've done a good little solid hour in. But one of the things the Express saying here is vote count begins, bitter fight to the end. This is by Carolyn Kisoon. They said the polls will close at 6 p.m. The vote count has begun. 1 point something million voters eligible to vote in the local government election. From all appearances, it was a low voter turnout. All day long, there were claims and counterclaims of threats, voter harassment, bribes, party agents canvassing for votes, election officials turning away eligible voters. UNC political leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar said she was concerned over the number of alleged irregularities being raised at polling stations in battleground regional corporations in the local government election. And this, she said, was the reason for her request for international election observers. She said, I have other concerns. I have made complaints to the EBC about ballot boxes and votes that appear to be tampered with. The special voters, they have admitted that there was a deviation from the standard procedure. That was their response. But why is it only ballots related to Grande and San Fernando were the ones that appeared to be tampered with? As we all know, these are battleground regional corporations. She was very concerned and would be taking action. We can expect that, right? From now going forward, action will be taken after every election. Once that precedent set, it's set. It's a dangerous precedent too, because we used to have a place where man used to go and make this speech and concede very, very quickly after elections. I always used to talk about that as one of the things that we could be proud about as a country, but that has changed. The precedent is set. You know, David Nackett and them going to get them bad after the thing, no matter. Well, once they lose. Early reports looking like UNC gained some ground in this local government election. I'm not surprised by that. I don't think people are very, very happy with the PNM. Even the PNM supporters and the PNM diehard people mightn't be exactly happy with Rollers. Rollers quoted here is by Leah Sorayas in the Express are saying, we did well in a difficult situation. Let me get you a round of applause. I think this was his rounding up of the nightly meetings and all them things. You know, these men is 70-some years old. Them men all like the hills. All like, had these men in meeting every night and they must be good tired when the election done. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley says while the People's National Movement Administration may not have been successful in every area. Okay. Serious? Well, it wasn't. It was able to achieve a lot in the past 8 years in office. Yesterday marked the PNM's 8th year under Rowley. 8 years, wow. Asked how he assessed the government's performance over the period, Rowley said at the post-cabinet media conference at the Diplomatic Center, St. Anne's, that the government had done very well in a very difficult situation. The party has been selected to be the government at a very testing time. We came into government in September 2015, where we had some serious economic decline, serious revenue contraction, and very, very difficult markets. And then we had a pandemic that literally strangled us for almost 3 years. Hey! Let me get a round of applause for not saying this. You stop saying that the UNC empty the treasury and them things, thank God he move on from there. All I remember is at a point in time when no matter what they talk about, he used to say UNC mash up the country. At least he just quote normal macroeconomic factors. He is beautiful. Quoted here saying we had difficulty maintaining our standard of living and quality of life, but we managed to do that. We had to make significant adjustments in some of the regular things that we do. We tried to restart the economy. We've restarted the economy. We've got some economic growth, and there's positive news on the diversification where the non-oil sector has survived and has grown. We've maintained our social support system. We've raised our international profile considerably. We got our CARICOM arrangements in place. So I think a lot of good things have happened during the 8-year period. And I think the government has done quite well in a very difficult situation. I think we have done reasonably well. We are not perfect. Okay. We have not been successful at everything that we've done. But when you look at the success that we've had in closing off the CLICO matter, recovering substantial sums of assets to the state and the CLICO bailout, we've created the NIF, National Investment Fund, which has now been created, and we've come to the end of the first tranche. There was no NIF. All right, Rolly, take a clap. You're looking for a little kudos. You know what I mean? Rolly looking for a little other boy. If it's a other boy you're looking for, take a other boy, man. Don't let nobody stop you. If that's the way you're feeling, that's the way you're feeling. So that was him basically summing up where they are going into the election. But I did see something interesting that I wanted to play for you, right? And this, again, for me, is one of the dangers of the rhetoric. While I too have expressed many, many times that I don't feel like I could vote for none of these parties. They're all uninspiring. It is hard to listen to any of them for too long. Guy Griffith today say Philip Alexander showing people how to spoil the ballot on Facebook. He doing ballot spoiling tutorials. And you look at the kind of games these fellas is play. Watson Duke surprisingly quiet. I suppose he trying to figure out. He must have done call Ian Allen already to say, boy, how we could get inside with Jack and them fellas. So he looked quieter than normal. But in Farley, who was looking like so hopeful the other day, starting to see he's more of the same, taking pattern from the same dinosaurs or the people who've been there for a long time. You know, you always want youth, but if the youth is just the same thing as you were seeing before, I ain't think nothing special happening. So, I mean, I documented for being kind of tired of this political process. But I usually still have to point out when they have things that they're still on the good side or things that glaringly bad. And I feel like if this Guy Griffith, I feel, driven campaign of everybody get a gun to defend your household and empty the guy, I find it to be a little unnerving. And I could see where it's going. I see the clip going viral now, and I'll play it for you of where to listen to what the aspiring prime minister or a past prime minister saying on the platform and what it being used for. Just remember when Trinidad Killer had Gunman and She Like That. That song was not a very popular song, even in the Zessin world and them thing. It was a song. It was alright, you know what I mean? It wasn't nothing spectacular. And then Philip Alexander, when it was playing in a party somewhere close to by him, he came and said the thing with 7 o'clock in the morning. He said, look what kind of country we live in. And he was talking about Rowley, you know. He was saying that's Rowley's fault. Look what kind of country we live in. 7 o'clock in the morning, gunman and she-hole, right? And then some wise person, Trinidad Killer, said it was not him. Some producer or something must take that clip from Philip Alexander, put it with the gunman in the hole, put the song on a different rhythm, and then now the song is one of the biggest songs in the history of Trinidad, you know what I mean? Look at the kind of music I play today. Look at the kind of music I play today. And if the world stopped today, we will go down as famous for a song that say champion, 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 Larry's a champion, Beanie's a champion, Bongsy's a champion, and Gunman and She-Hole. That are two of the most famous songs we ever make as a country. You can't defeat it. But when Philip Alexander was able to, that song Trinidad Killer is a star, right? He's a hit maker. So even if he didn't sing, he'd make more hits, right? But that song propelled him to the next level. And that Philip Alexander clip propelled that song to the next level, which then propelled Trinidad Killer to the next level. But that song also did a whole lot for Philip Alexander's political career, his visibility. People know who he is, the youths and stuff. And of course, if you're feeling disenfranchised and underrepresented like I am, and you're hearing an alternative voice, you're going to hold on to that alternative voice. Now, one of the things is that I am lucky enough, fortunate enough to have lived for a long time. You know, I done 40-something years already. I studied for a long time, so I see several different school books and different forms of school. I failed a good bit of school. I passed some, you know what I mean? I went through a good bit. So I have a decent understanding. I'm very grateful for me learning economics. So a lot of what I see in this space, while I talk about these people and fed up with them, is tempered by a little bit of knowledge and experience. So that I'm not necessarily saying I fed up with Rowley and Kamala, so whoever else come along I'll go with, no matter what they say, if it making sense or not, right? But I just want you to appreciate that you and me are going to be in the minority in the country, right? That is a small percentage of people who would have had that exposure or seek out that kind of education or knowledge. The majority, which is who is winning elections, is people who might be easily swayed by people who good looking, who talking sweet, who promising anything they could promise. And a lot of times we could listen and hear the promises, they unsubstantiated. I remember people initially, the first time I hear about this Marcos youth, right? From the time I hear about it, I say, well, all right, if a young black fellow selling his online courses or he doing his whatever it might be. I can't remember what they said it was, digital marketing and them kind of thing, right? If he doing digital marketing and he turn himself in a millionaire, why not? And I don't see it strange for a young 20 little bit person who makes some money to start buying expensive fancy cars. I think that would be a normal thing for a youth to do. You see it all the time in sports and in music and them kind of. When men make money, it's jewelry by car and them kind of things. So a lot of people who, in my circles, people I know would say, hey, that man is a scammer. That can't be real and this and that. I can't doubt them. I mean, he couldn't sell me a course. But now you see, where it's starting to unravel. A couple of weeks ago, they say he had a photographer and or videographer, and he wasn't paying the videographer, so he had money for him, and that unravel now. He is coming to the public doing videos saying, this man had a car and he wouldn't bring back my car and he'd only help to get back my car. This is Facebook he's talking about, also recently deleting his Facebook, which is again not a good sign. He had a good reason for everything, but not a good sign if you're collecting people money and you're promising things and then your Facebook gone. But I thinking if somebody take your car, why you don't go to the Trinidad and Tobago police service? You know what is them work? That is them fellas work, so you come into the public for the public to help you there. But anyway. It is, again, the education and the experience, right? Is a lens you see in things through. Your perception is different than what the majority of people's perception would be. When you listen to people, you go and ask people about Philip Alexander. And you're hearing people, well, in time, they're saying he's the savior, that who we need to give a chance and think. That is a lot of the rhetoric they're hearing out here. When, in fact, when I listen to Philip Alexander, a lot of this stuff, I just find that a lot of it unsubstantiated, a lot of it is garbage, a lot of it is hot air, a lot of it he simply cannot do. That is not the way the system will work. And some of the things that he's saying he will do while the song, they're going to be detrimental. But again, if you line yourself up and you say, 7 o'clock in the morning, gunman in Shihole, and a man take that and make a song, now you become popular, and now your voice and your face start to become something that people listen to. So when you see Kamala on a platform saying, when they come by you, empty the clip, knock it on them, and reload. Listen to how this being used in a popular wet fet over the weekend. Right, hear this.
You have to load up this magic. You have to pull it back. You have to knock it on them. And then knock it again. Knock it again. Knock it and knock it on them. Then we knock it again.
So again, just playing that clip for you, right? So now that is that pasted at the front of what I believe is a K-Lion song, right? And that must be what she was trying to say when she says Swami dead, because she even knows it's K-Lion, you understand? But so these things seem to be well orchestrated to me, and now her voice is in the fets or in the zest something with them youths and them going, because if you see the party them in, that ain't not party for me and you. Them ain't trying to hear no high mass, no David Rudder, no, them don't want to hear no full extreme. You know what I mean? It's extra bored with them. Them are another full extreme. So you're seeing where, to me again, it's just part of the marketing campaign for these folks, and they're making sure that they're inside with these youths. And again, confirming for me that is a play for the national election and not so much the local government election. You know what I mean? Is you're seeing it clearly. You're seeing where it's going, and I suppose that if this is where we're starting off, I think there's going to be more and more of this to come. You're going to see more of it as time goes along. So, I mean, salute to both political parties. I'm looking through what it's saying with the results here, and again, it's looking like confirmed a little bit of a deadlock. And I seeing images of Kamala Prasad Bissessa pulling up in Mulchan Suchan Road. That's where they are now. Oh yeah, I guess Rianzi day is over. So she coming out victorious. The boss is back in charge. This is she lost how much election back to back, and she lose ground in so much of different things. But now she back in the game, man. She looking happy. She and Khadija, I mean, pulling up to election base. And for me, it's almost like whether it is you choose to vote for UNC, you choose to vote for PNM, you choose the alternative like Philip and these fellows. You wonder sometimes what was the substance that coming out of it. Like I always say that people basically playing for themselves. Their role is really to see how they could make money for themselves and gain power. So when you watch that trio, Jack and this one and now, and then you watch your partner and he'll squad them playing golf every day. He and his little team, you know what I mean? It's like you wonder sometimes how much of it is about us and how much of it is about them. And it reminds me so much of a song by Gypsy. I want you to listen to these lyrics for me, right? No matter what the election results come out as, this song's so fitting.
More questions than answers in these times here of man-made and natural disasters. Questions we are asking, no answers we are finding. For the stranger than fiction, things we witness happening. Every day we look around where there's more confusion. The problems intensify without no solution. Helplessly man stand in this wonderland, pondering his fate at some problems he creates. So I'm asking where do we go from here? That's my question to all mankind. Answer me where do we go from here? When you have fourth fly, man can't tell the reason why. And the Bermuda Triangle is yet still a marvel. Egotistic fanatics no rule our world. Their bombs and guns in full control. Tell me where do we go from here? Leaders of great nations are misleaders, indulging double deals and corruption, and in their quest for absolute power becomes dictator and enslave the subjects they look over, creating a very explosive situation where the only way out is an armed revolution. And as man tries to dash, he's faced with nature's wrath, storms will quick, famine and drought. You tell me which way is out. The question is where do we go from here? My humble question to all mankind. Answer me where do we go from here? When you have fourth fly, man can't tell the reason why. Corruption so terrible that even the corrupted marvel. Egotistic fanatics ruling our world. Their bombs and guns in total control. Tell me where do we go from here?
So I see Philip Alexander making speech to say he concede, you know what I mean? Only want to hear a little part of Philip's speech. I surprised Philip actually making speech in front of people, and I would have thought this would be on Facebook. Only want to hear a slice.
Thank all of you for remaining throughout the day. It's been a long day, week, month, year. It's been busy.
Right.
On June 6th, when an election was announced, we, as a progressive empowerment party, had to make a decision. We were not contemplating local government election at any point.
Okay.
All of our resources was aimed at a general election.
Right.
We were building that.
Right.
We were creating our shadow MPs and launching them on the ground, putting them into the communities and getting them busy.
Right.
So that the public would have known quantities to compare, contrast,
right.
vote for.
Right.
at an election time.
So this was just a warm-up?
Not one of the highly funded parties.
Right.
I will never refer to the Progressive Empowerment Party as a small party.
I neither.
Of all the parties that exist in Trinidad and Tobago,
yeah,
the Progressive Empowerment Party does the most with the least for the most.
Right.
And I think that makes us a big party.
All right, okay, salute to you. Basically, he conceded, right? The man say here we're going on, they lost. From everything I see in the election results, salute to CNC True Game, a lot of live, or at least posting as they go along, right? Every time you see Philip Alexander come up on a post, I really didn't realize there wasn't so much a constituency, you know, but every time you see them come out on a post, yeah, well, 5 vote. But it's not a small party. It's not a small party. They're doing the least, the most with the least with the most. You know what I mean? So they're not a small party, and they're prepping for local government election. But it's looking again here like it's deadlock. All right, Akash, easy. They're looking like a deadlock between the UNC and the PNM. And I think a lot of it was predictable, as we say, in the weeks leading up to this. People disenchanted. People. Wait, now, did I choose a non-neutral color? I was supposed to wear something neutral, yes, you know what I mean? That ship sailed. I wonder if I can edit this out and change the color of this jersey. I'd planned to keep a jersey for whoever win. I would have wear that, you know, but it's looking like deadlock. And I suppose this gives good encouragement or good signs for the UNC going into the next election. And also gives a little stick to the PNM to say, hey, here we're going on, let it go, all act together, you know, because Ole, in the last 2 elections it had, they tell Ole they don't want no part of Ole at all in Tobago. They choose, look what they choose over Ole in Tobago. They decide, listen, wherever come what may, we're not going back with PNM and Tobago. And then you're hearing the same thing from Trinidad now, where you're losing ground in the corporations. That is not a good sign 2 years away from an election. And I'm hoping that it means that we have enough time for all who governing, because it don't matter to me who win and who lost. But if when Ole could do things to make the country a better place, right? I know Ole in studying Ole don't forget we already, but if you could make the country a better place. So losing the election or losing ground in the election might be the best blessing that we could ever hope for. I always hear my partner Juan, salute to my brethren Juan, right? Juan is always say, every year every election you're supposed to vote out whoever in power. Remind them that they have nothing for granted. You come and you go, in, out, a revolving door, so that nobody sit down there and get too comfortable and feel like power belongs to them. Because the reality is that when you go in there and you start to soak, it's problems for we. So I hope that this little kick in their pants will tell them, all right, well, here we're going on. We need a better style of governance, a better style of communication. We need more to be happening with the road infrastructure. We need to be getting water in Chaguanas. You know, understand, whatever the issues are, we need a proper plan for diversification. We need to address the issue with foreign exchange. We need to address issues with small businesses and so on. All these things are things that you have 2 years to start to do work and to put in place. And do I have a lot of hope that it will happen? Not really. I'm not sure that I have a lot of hope that that will happen, because I always, you know, when I will start back voting, when I see Port of Spain vote for anybody else but PNM, because it's beat me sometimes that some of the communities that under your stewardship forever, that never change hands, people still vote for you regardless. You know what I mean? That is impressive to me. And the same thing in UNC, you know, some of the seats that they have in some of the rural areas, it's how much change coming. Ole went in power twice in Ole history. And it's not like when they focus on the areas that was so great. It's the same. Ole not the political process is not designed for the people. It's not designed to benefit the people and the governments that go in place. It is almost like it don't matter. Maybe we should give Philip a chance and try. Man was telling me that after sweat the other day, now man say, boy, you know you're getting nonsense from one side and you're sure you're getting nonsense from the next side. At least you have somebody there who you ain't sure about. But Gypsy put together a song here that tells a story for me that I feel is more of what we should pay attention to, because you see the best and the brightest in the country could sit down and talk politics and pay attention to that whole day. What you will find from the best and the brightest in the country too is that you have a good job, you have savings, you're educating yourself further, you have 2-3 streams of income, you have business. That's what you will find from the people who already pass a certain point in life, right? But what you find is that the people who most vulnerable to this process tend to be people who they dependent on it and they're vulnerable to the process, and that is who these fellas and them is go after. So I just want to go again to play easily one of Gypsy's biggest songs as a reminder that no matter who win them election and them thing, you see you have to study yourself and take care of yourself. Because when you have a man who is studying you at all and nothing he talk about how to do with your betterment, and next woman who's saying, if you ain't getting no betterment and you decide to turn to the life of crime, we gonna knock it on you and reload and knock it and knock it and knock it. You have to respect what Gypsy say here. You have to respect what Gypsy talking about here. And this song so fitting, no matter what era you play it in.
A black boy was he. The boy went to school and he come out on see. Never learn how to read, he never learn about math. Never learn how to write, he never study about that. All he study was his speakers, his sneakers and clothes. He learned how to dress and he learned how to pose. He can't get no work, he can't get no job. He decide to steal and he decide to rob. But little black boy couldn't last long at all. The police put a bullet through his duncy head skull. Little black boy, go to school and learn. Little black boy, show some concern. Little black boy, education is the key to get you off the street and off poverty. Little black boy, go to school and learn. Little black boy, show some concern. Little black boy, education is the key to get you off the street and all poverty. Why, boy, a rude boy was he. All the boy ambition was to conduct a maxi. With a ring in his nose, a gold teeth in his mouth. He feel very proud when they call him a tout. So proud was the boy that the boy never learned. He could have worked hard and buy a maxi of his own. So he hustled for $1, he hustled for a smoke. He hustled so that he could buy a little coke. Now he hook on the coke and off the maxi. And one more little black vagrant in the country. Little black boy, go to school and learn. Little black boy, show some concern. Little black boy, education is the key to get you off the street and off poverty. Little black boy, think about your race. Little black boy, when will you find your place? Little black boy, go to school and learn. When you're black, you just black. You can't help but being black. But because you are black, you don't stay in the back. Be black, but be conscious. Be black, but be conscious. Look in the front, see who's the doctor. Look in the back, see who's the lawyer. Look in the bank, see who's the banker. Look at the business, who's the owner. Look at the staff, see who's the worker. Look at the truck, see who's the damn man. Look who eating out of them garbage can. Look in the jail, see who you see too. A lot of little black boy just like you. Little black boy, go to school and learn. Little black boy, show some concern. Little black boy, education is the key to get you off the street and off poverty. Little black boy, go to school and learn. Little black boy, you have to show some concern. Little black boy, think about your race. Little black boy, when would you find your place? Why, little black boy, take a look at yourself. Little black boy, take a look at yourself. Little black boy, put your guns on the shelf. Little black boy, watch what you do. Little black boy, take a good look at you. Little black boy, look at other people too. Little black boy, is that the way you should be? Don't put drugs in your vein.
I find Gypsy quiet these days in all the election process and thing, you know what I mean? I find Gypsy a little quiet. I hope he good. I hope everything good with Gypsy. But that Little Black Boy was a huge song. I'm sure most of us would remember when he had originally bring out that tune, and that make people stop. That is a song you had to stop and listen, and so relevant up to today. where the most affected people, you know. Anyway, Gypsy again, another song along the exact same lines with the politics. Now, this is where Gypsy gets himself real toilet paper, because when you sing songs like these, and you stand up, or seen as standing up for the people as a Calypsonian, they don't trust you when you go and you join in the politics, you know, especially if you don't go with the PNM, right? But you back with the PNM now, but you quiet. I ain't really hear not from him for local government election, so I wonder if you go make it to the general election. But again, with a deadlock there and stupidity to come, because now everybody who feel their momentum and who feel they have to do extra, we had 2 years of stupidity. Stupidity is on the way. But there's another one from Gypsy here that sum it up so well.
You see that a nation without a soul is like a ship that has lost its rudder. No nation at all. Born in a land of such great expectation, over the years I watch its deterioration. Just couldn't stand by idly and say it's a shame. Someone or something in this land has to be blamed. Politics for one and politicians for the other. Make sure the good of this land don't stay together. How could some place so good turn out so bad? Where is the love in this land that we once had? Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Somebody gone with the love that we had. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Somebody driving this country mad. And we, yes, you and me, we have to stop this conspiracy. I'm telling you, yes, you and me, we have to stop this conspiracy. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Drug addiction and prostitution, teenage pregnancy have taken over my land. Much too much political corruption. Talk about race only cause more confusion. Who would ever try to put all these wrongs right? Too much frustration without no end in sight. Leader after leader put the nation under pressure, and ordinary people just have to run for cover, Lord. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Somebody gone with the love that we had. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation. Somebody driving my country mad. And we, yes, you and me, we have to stop this conspiracy. I'm telling you, we, yes, you and me, we have to stop this conspiracy. Somebody thief in the soul of a nation.
Couldn't play an episode about Gypsy and not play this, right?
This is an SOS.
Which captain he should dedicate this to?
Location 7 miles off the coast of Venezuela. SOS, SOS, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Help. Help. The Trinidad, a luxury liner, sailing the Caribbean Sea. few surpassed. And in her day she sailed majestically. There were few in her class. Faithfully she fulfilled her sailor's need. Some were overpowered by greed, and so they pilfered slow. Some took bite, bulk and go. Now she looked dull, she's at the lull. She could barely sit on her hull. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa, whoa. The Trinidad, in her day of sailing, she was a friend to one and all. She never once ever hesitated to answer all SOS calls. And yes, well, she always did her best to help all those in distress. Now it's so sad to see she's in difficulties. Though she helped cheer, some of them cheer and sarcastically declare, Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we sit on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa.
One of the greatest calypso ever written. Well, only want to make a list of it? Only want to make a top 100 list of the most 100 best songs in the history of calypso. I did it all, you know. Bring the 99 and I'll add one to it for you. Listen, I go in now. Okay, only I'm up too late watching election result and nothing happened, man. Nobody don't care about local government election, evidently. But the Gypsy had a message for the captain, so maybe the captain go listen to him. I'm sure he and the captain talking already. He might be singing that for him directly now. I'm leaving Oli with a Gypsy here, right? I don't know if Oli know this song or not, but in looking up the songs for this episode, this is the first time I hear this one too, but I like it a lot. And my original idea was to close with Soca Trade. But because I like this song so much, I'm leaving Oli with this one. This is Suzanne by Gypsy. You know it?
Years of age, she run away from home. She mother tell she too young to roam. She don't give a damn, she come down to town. She say that tongue is for the young and strong. From the time she land in the city, the girl bumps up with bad company. She starts following Jane Joyce and keep on drinking, smoking, sniffing, getting high. And she don't care if she live or die. She mother come down in town and start to cry. Suzanne, you only running all around. You only funking down the town. You only take no time to think. There wasn't how much you drink. Suzanne, you really take this for a joke. There wasn't how much you smoke. You only dressing up and pose, putting white powder in your nose. Suzanne, my child. Drunk and falling down, taking Washington, roaming everywhere, sleeping in the square. Where Susan come from up in the country, everybody really surprised that she. Nobody can pinpoint where she went wrong. The girl from a good religious background. forget all that she left behind. Nowadays she's dressing up in style and living a life that's very wild. The people around her forget she's still a child. Susan, you only running all around. You only funking down the tongue. You wouldn't take no time to think. Girl, watch out how much thing you drink. Susan, you really take this for a joke. You watch out how much thing you smoke. You only dressing up and pose, putting white powder in your nose. Susan, my child. And fancy free. She don't give a damn about nobody. All she doing is hanging out all the time. The only thing she interested in is lime. Must this continue from day to day? Should all our children grow up this way? Growing up before they deserve to play. If it does, then it's a real bad fate. How long would we sit around and wait? For kids like Susan, time is getting rather late. Susan, you only running all around. You only funking down the tongue. You wouldn't take no time to think. You're watching how much thing you drink. Susan, you really take this for a joke. You're watching how much thing you smoke. You only dressing up and pose, putting white powder in your nose. Susan,
I tell you, one of the political commentary geniuses. But listen, I'm leaving all it for this week. We'll have a safe week, have a good week. Well, we have a new party in local government power. Enjoy that. Let me enjoy this time. And we will keep an eye on them, right? Let me see what the promises is, if they make any promises at all, and let me see if they follow through. But listen, we'll have a safe week and enjoy the week. Have a good time until I see you all next weekish. Next weekish, maybe. But enjoy. Bye.
From you I must talk the truth. She was looking haggard and destitute.